guys, what's going on? I am Hunter SC, and this is the beginning of our Dark Souls 2 walkthrough. This particular video series has been, in the making for a long time. Dark Souls 2 came out in March, and it's now November, and I'm now ready to record a walkthrough for it. I'm obviously very excited to be doing this. It is, a significant undertaking. It's going to be like 10 episodes or more, but I'm really looking forward to covering the whole game with you guys, starting here with things betwixt. So I'm going to take my time going through these zones at some points, while at others, maybe I'll be rushing, even running by monsters and whatnot. But I do have quite a bit I want to talk about for lots of the different zones. So sometimes you'll find me dawdling, taking my time just to give me some extra speaking time. So yeah, before heading in to meet the old hags, I guess just want to point out a couple quick things here that, a lot of people are already going to be aware of, but I'm going to cover them anyway. So you can actually hop down here or just run off and pick up a little gambling token. So this is the smallest of 3 sizes tokens you can trade with the crow and do the trading system. That's very different. It's a different system from the past 2 games, and I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons to the past 2 games as well, Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. I think that's fairly understandable, but I guess I just don't want to surprise anyone, just letting you know ahead of time. Yeah, let's try and not get consumed by this guy. Wow, he even caught me with his with one of his attacks. So just right here is what I'm looking for. Please don't. Okay, well, that's not such a big deal. This actually gives me like 30 seconds, and this will be the only load screen that I actually play in full. Any load screens from now on, whether I die or whether I'm using a homeward bone or whatever the case is, I'm going to cut down the load screens because on console they're really quite lengthy, and there's no reason for me to make you sit through them except for this time, because I wanted to talk to you guys about why it's been so long since I've uploaded. And it's kind of hard for me to address this without making excuses. Sorry, there's a loud noise in the background, it distracted me. It's hard to address it without making excuses, so what I can say is I didn't want to be recording walkthroughs and, gameplays with commentary, and in my opinion, it's kind of unwise to force myself to do it because it'll compromise the quality. If I don't want to be recording a walkthrough and I force myself to, it's not going to be fun for me, and as a result, it's not going to be fun for anyone watching. So, that's really the main reason why, and I'm just happy that I'm, able to do it now.
What seems to be the ruckus?
So I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip a fair amount of story and dialogue. I guess I feel kind of bad because some of the viewers have not seen all this stuff, but I can't sit through it all, honestly. I need to move through this walkthrough at a certain pace, and hopefully I won't be talking over the NPCs too much. But yeah, I will be skipping a fair amount of dialogue. Anyways, to do the character creation here, we're just going to pick some simple stuff. We'll go male. I do like the big head, so we'll turn that on. Keep a regular physique. And you know what, guys? We're going to go completely default here. I'm not going to do any customization at all. I understand some people spend hours and hours making the perfect character, but we don't have time for that right now. I do want to talk about the classes, because class selection is one of my favorite parts of Souls games. So let's look at what we have to offer, what Dark Souls 2 has to offer us. The warrior, very flimsy weapon, a broken straight sword, garbage. I think he's the only one that comes with a shield, and then he's got an armor set that you can get immediately, so that's not really that exciting. The knight's got a good weapon, but nothing else really. The swordsman, we're going to pick this one. I'm like 99% sure, unless we have a last minute change of heart. I guess we can just talk about him quickly now. His 2 swords that he comes with are actually upgraded just to +1, but that's like a really nice perk. And then to have, you know, a short sword and a scimitar. I don't think you can power stance them right off the bat. No, definitely not. But regardless, you know, having 2 is pretty good. But more importantly, it's the Wanderer outfit that we're here for. I don't even know where you get this in the game. Maybe someone can mention in the comments where you can pick up the Wanderer outfit in Dark Souls 2, or if there's more than one place, because I have no idea. But it's a favorite armor set of mine. I think it looks pretty fresh, and we're going to go with that. Just to take a quick look, though, at the rest of the classes. I've never picked the Bandit before, although he does come with a bow. I don't know. I think that's the long bow. I'm not sure, though. I don't really like his armor set, though. Of course, we're going to avoid the Cleric. Just coming with a piece of chest armor and a healing spell with his mace. The Mage, fairly simple. Not exactly sure what armor that is. Not a huge deal. The Explorer is definitely worth pointing out. He's got an item discovery helmet. He's got 7 different pieces in his belt. Some useful tokens there, as well as a magic defense ring. This is a really good starting class. And actually, look, he's got even bolts. Why do they start the Explorer with bolts but no crossbow? I don't know. And then the full deprived. 6s across the board. Soul level 1. Nothing in his inventory. Okay. I just wanted to go over the classes, because as I mentioned before, I've always liked that in Souls games. And then to talk quickly here, we've got to pick a gift. I think the best choice for us is the Bonfire Ascetic. These are very scarce early on in the game. Petrified Something is definitely worth mentioning, because you can trade this right away, like 1 minute from now, with the crows. And the Petrified Something is the level 3 gambling token. So you can have a pretty decent chance of trading it for a rare weapon, for example, and you get that right at the beginning of the game. So that's one worth mentioning. But we're going to go with the Ascetic instead. I think we're ready here. We'll just skip this once again. And I think we now have control over the character. And we're ready to actually start playing. Okay. So these ladies in the house, I'm sure some people are familiar. You come back here with a soul vessel if you want to respec. Respecs are free in this game, considering that soul vessels are farmable. So yeah, you can come back here for that. This lady will also give you a ladle at one point. I'm not sure if we have to like come back and talk to her or what, but yeah, if you're interested in a soup ladle for a weapon, that is available. Oh, this actually happens to me all the time. Take the wrong door on my way out. Alright, and the first of many. And the new mechanic introduced in Dark Souls 2, the torch. A very controversial mechanic because they kind of took it out of the game at the last moment. And yeah, this is here what we're sort of greeted with. Still sort of making our way to that daylight out there. But let's take a look at this very first tutorial section on our left. We'll just run by these guys. So this is one of 3 tutorial sections and things betwixt. It's really the only one that I usually visit. And before we get ambushed here, we've got all these stragglers following us. I just wanted to sort of look out here. Got a pretty nice view. We've got a second ogre over there, and there's actually even a third one that's like hiding behind the like ramp over there. And then there's a coffin you can climb into, and they actually updated the text for that coffin. Now it lets you know that your nature has changed, or something like that. There's a quote it gives you now. Before the patch, it gave you no information. So I was on my first character climbing in and out of that coffin, trying to figure out what it did. But I had something over my head, so I did not realize it was turning me from a guy to a girl and back and forth all you want. I don't really know why they included that. It's not like your gender matters in this game the way it does in Demon Souls, for example. But yeah, they included that anyway. And that same kind of coffin mechanic makes a comeback in the latest DLC as a transport. I think it's the only two places you see that in the game. So we're just going to kick down this ladder, and then this is the nest where you trade. So why don't we just do a very quick demonstration. We've got one thing we can leave. Let's see what we get. Old mundane stone. Useless. But that's okay. So we're going to skip that second tutorial here and the third one coming up on the left and make our way out into the main game and say goodbye to things betwixt for now. The only other thing worth mentioning that we missed was that very first ogre. If you kill him, you get the stone ring, which was buffed significantly in a recent patch. Stone ring is really good, especially if you're using like a longsword or short sword, a lightweight weapon. Anyways, here's the trademark sanctuary for Dark Souls 2. Majula. Very sunny. Sunrise, I do believe. And right away we got a couple things I can point out. One of the gifts you can choose for Dark Souls 1. Divine blessings are much more abundant in this game. We're going to head down this path later. Although, on a blind playthrough, I would immediately go right in there to see what was over there. And then just behind these like weeds here, you can drop down and down again. And you can pick up that chime early if you're not a cleric. And that particular chime actually has like the fastest cast rate in the game, except for like a chime that has crazy stat requirements. We might as well take a quick look at it because I've mentioned it now. Yeah, cast rate there at the bottom is 140 casting speed. So that's one of the fastest in the game, available right at the beginning. Very useful. This is the Emerald Herald. We're going to skip all her dialogues. Again, I've actually heard these lines like 100 times. So I hope you don't mind me skipping them. I suppose if you really, really wanted, you could pause it and check out the dialogue line by line. But anyways, we don't have any souls to level up here, and perhaps I should have grabbed an upgrading shard first, but we'll do that in a moment. Usually like to head up here, and so that's my death count because I'm playing offline right now. Ordinarily there would be hundreds of millions of deaths here. And then of course we have the Crestfallen warrior. I don't remember his name. We're not going to talk to him right now. So this character is basically in all three Souls games. I don't really like the version in Dark Souls 2 here with this guy. I mean, he's just so depressed in this game. I mean, it's almost like boring, and you know, he's kind of monotone and not very interesting. At least the Crestfallen warrior in previous games, you know, he had a bit of an attitude. You know, he was cracking jokes and laughing and whatnot. But anyways, they decided to bring him back. We don't need to talk anymore about him. We've got this green blacksmith here. I think his name is Lenegrast. And of course we're going to help him out in a little while. A couple more things we want to grab in Majula. Of course you can knock this rock in, pull up a undead, and grab our first Estus Flask shard. So that'll give us one additional swig of Estus when we sit at a bonfire. You can get a maximum of 12.
Hello there. Oh.
So we've got an armorer here selling some basic gear right off the bat. He's got the knight set, the warriors set, and then infantry armor as well. Really nothing special yet, but by the end of your playthrough, he's got like multiple pages of armor sets available. Really a ton of options to choose. You do have to pay him though. Once you've spent like 15 or 16,000 souls, his inventory is like fully stocked, and you can get all the goods then. We also just grabbed some upgrading materials. And before we head over to the Forest of the Fallen Giants, let's just get one extra Estus. Hopefully we won't need it, but just in case. So early on you got a couple of options. You can head to Heide's Tower of Flame through the far tunnel there. In theory, if you had a bit more souls, you could get a ring and head straight down there. I guess I might as well open up this NPC. So this is one of the most surprising NPCs when I started playing the game.
Oh, undead are we? And one just about not exact. Well,
I didn't expect a feline NPC, but here we are. And I guess I shouldn't really be that surprised. There was, you know, the leader of the Forest Covenant in Dark Souls 1, Alva, was a cat too. So yeah, you get 13,400 souls, get the cat ring. It's an item from Demon Souls, and you can use it to head downstairs, you know, down towards the gutter there. Last thing in Majula. We've got the Champions Covenant here. Originally, I was, you know, thinking of doing the playthrough while part of the Champions Covenant. I've spent probably the majority of my time in Dark Souls as a Covenant of Champion member. Yeah, maybe it's like 50-50, because you can't do any co-op when you're part of the Covenant, and yeah, so the game just seems kind of quiet in that regard when you're a member. And although it does add a challenge, it can also feel kind of cheesy at points, just with how much damage certain monsters and attacks are going to do. And I really want to try to limit the deaths on this playthrough. I mean, we got our dying out of the way at the very beginning by dying to that ogre. But truly, I want to limit deaths like as few as possible. So we'll be favoring like safe tactics and whatnot. Alright. Well, gotta be careful. I didn't realize that thing automatically closed. Alright, hopping down from this bridge, and we actually encounter the most looted chest in the entire game. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This has to be like the most farmed chest in the game. We only get one effigy from it on New Game, but New Game Plus and beyond you get 5, which means that you can trade Bonfire aesthetics for 5 or even 6 human effigies if you want to do a little extra running around. And because that's the most effective place to get human effigies, it's definitely the most farm box chest in the game. We did open up a chest just a few moments ago with a rusted coin in it, and I kind of thought that item was pointless when I first started playing the game. Like, you've got these like limited rusted coins that are consumable. Like, when really am I gonna want to use it? I did not mean to rest here because it just respawned all the enemies. Should we run by, guys? I think we're gonna have to. I already killed them once, so let's run it by the second time. But to finish that previous thought, the rusted coin is actually very useful for farming the super rare drops. There are a number of like named black phantoms, or even unnamed black phantoms, that only spawn one time, and if you want them to spawn again, you have to burn a bonfire ascetic. And bonfire ascetics are pretty scarce. Well, actually, that's not really a fair assessment, because you can definitely farm ascetics multiple ways, but they're still very limited. You know, you don't want to waste them. So to get the most out of your bonfire ascetics when you're farming rare drops, pop a rusted coin immediately before you kill off, you know, the monster that you're farming. And yeah, that'll help a lot, especially if you combine it with all the other item discovery pieces available in this game. You can really stack it up high. Like there's like the prisoner's waistcloth, and the gold serpent ring +2, and a couple of helmets that help out there, as well as the rusted coin. So, alright. So we're getting a little bit more action going on here. I'm just R1ing these guys down with the scimitar. Kind of want to switch to the short sword. It's definitely my move set of choice, the straight sword set. So coming up soon, I feel like the stone ring actually would have helped us quite a bit. Soon enough we'll be going up against enemies with like heavier armor sets, and sometimes being able to stagger an enemy, you know, with one hit instead of two can actually save your life. Ooh, the fancy plunging attack just to finish that guy off. And we'll grab this shield as well. Very small, lightweight buckler, good for parrying. It's easier to parry with those smaller shields. They have like a longer parry animation, and it makes it easier because there's like more active frames in there. Now you can definitely hop down here, take a ladder, or, you know, take the long way. There's a human effigy over there, which is definitely worth grabbing. But really the fire longsword that is down in a hole down there, guarded by a toad who shoots out fireballs, is one of the best swords you can get early on. Speaking of strong early game swords, I probably should have mentioned it when we passed him, but there was a sitting enemy in a white cloak just sitting in the previous section, not hostile towards us. He doesn't go hostile until you attack him, but he drops a sword with excellent lightning damage. So that's two good weapons you can get early on, but we're not actually going to pick up either one. Lighting this bonfire here, this is like a iconic bonfire for Dark Souls 2. This was like the very first area ever revealed in the preview trailers, and so it'll be cool to go through it. Okay, Melentia, she's got some good stuff for sale. Something we definitely need is a firebomb, and we're going to need the key for the blacksmith as well. You can head up here for some extra loot. Just bust down the door. It's locked, but you can break through it. There's nothing really that exciting, but, you know, a couple of useful pieces. Not anything that I think we'll need. But let me show you a shortcut to a shortcut. Okay, you come up to this wall here, line up Just like this, face towards the ground. And there you go. The firebomb explosion kind of triggers the TNT barrels that are on the other side of the wall. So you can get access to the rest of the forest of fallen giants without even traversing the fog wall that's below us. Okay, so we've got some enemies. This guy's actually fully running after me. But what we're after is just across this gap. Now you can definitely get pegged with an arrow there and fall, but we're going to be fortunate enough to avoid that. And you want to be careful here too. This is pretty cheesy. Like, that is just going to run you over your first time here for sure. And let's quickly chat with Cale.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Cale. I'm a traveler like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map.
Okay, Cale is a map maker, and we just want to talk to him very quickly. We don't need to hear about his cartography, but we do
Yes. Wait. Then what?
need something from him.
Wonderful. Shit. Here. What a
So
joy.
after the 4th time you talk to him, he'll give you the mansion key. And that is something that we'll be using shortly. Let me cut down this load time for everyone. Alright. So we can activate the blacksmith. Just have to rest at a bonfire. And then let's go take a look inside the mansion. Okay, so this first room here, yeah, like, does anyone know what was going on in here? Why there's a giant book? I don't know. This is the item I mentioned before. Sorry, I'm getting so excited here. The Pharaoh's lockstones and the traps and the secret areas are one of the cool mechanics they added in this game. I'm quite fond of that addition. And we'll see it like throughout. It's like an ongoing thing in the game. So these are the skeletons, or I guess just one skeleton on New Game, that reside in the basement. So they kind of own the Majula mansion. They each drop a human effigy, and yeah, for each additional New Game Plus that you progress, there's one additional skeleton down here. I assume it caps at 7. That's a decent source of humanity early on. And here we get our first respec, and another Estus shard as well. So that'll be helpful. It's good to get a few Estus shards early on, just because having one flask really sucks. The only other thing upstairs here is just going to be some upgrading materials. Okay, so we've collected everything we needed from the mansion. Now that we have a Pharaoh's Lockstone, we can head back to Forest of the Fallen Giants. And I just want to grab a few things there, and then we'll make our way to the boss that we'll be taking on in just a few minutes. Alright, so the difficulty is going to be ramping up a little bit here, but I have a real tendency to just run by like any optional monsters. You have to be careful here too, because if you just kind of take your time there, you'll just die, because they have all those like ballista type mechanisms pointed right at the front door. And this trap too is booby trapped. And it's actually a random trap. It could be a poison one like we saw there, or it could have like 3 crossbow bolts shooting out in all directions. Alright, so this is something that I definitely recommend opening up early on. Got a couple chests here, as you can see. So this is really the item we're after. Making a comeback from Dark Souls 1. This is just the, +0 version, so it's not a great Chloranthy ring, but we'll definitely take it. And then a slab for, no purpose early on at all. I don't really know why they put it there. So I thought that this was kind of cute as well. Like, there's no key for that door as far as I know. But if you just make a bit of a racket outside the door, these guys will fully just open it for you. Please. I wanted to push him when he's got his shield up. Oh, okay, we are good for the forward R1. I thought that the scimitar as a curved sword would have that sort of slash backflip as a forward R1, but no, it's got the push. It's good to know. Okay, and then here, the large Titanite shards, those are very good early on. And the life ring, never going to say no to some extra life. And there's nothing else we want to do in this area for now, so let's head back to Majula. Okay, so Hag Melentia still has not showed up here. I thought that the number of souls you need to spend with her was like rather small, but maybe it was adjusted. So we'll have to go back to her at a later time and like buy the 5 humanity she has, and then maybe she will transport herself. So as you can see, we're moving far away from the Forest of Fallen Giants, kind of doing things in a different order. I bet a lot of people expected I would be fighting the... what's his name? The last giant in this video. But that's not going to happen. Okay, we got the Crimson Parma. Not a very good Parma. There are at least a couple other Parmas in this game that are better than the red one. But yeah, we're going to head over to Heide's Tower of Flame. I'm wondering what's even up here. Like, what is the point of these stairs? Oh, right. If you're coming back the opposite way, that's where the lever is to, I guess, open the door. It's the only thing it could do. Alright. So this was one of the exciting parts of the game when I first arrived here, for sure. Like, this zone looks really cool. You've got the cathedral, there to the left with the drawbridge. And then everything's just so big. Really nice view. Such a beautiful game, honestly. We've got our first old knight. Let's just grab this bonfire. So I'm actually gonna go to just using one weapon. A couple Estus here. Hopefully it'll be enough to get us through this upcoming part. So this guy might be the only one I actually kill. Oh man, my rolling is non-existent. His friend has come to help him out. How best to approach this? Probably would have been to be proactive and kill this first guy before engaging the second. Alright, well, I'm not fighting both of these guys at the same time. Not with these flimsy gear. Pieces of gear. Oh, actually, on second thought, now we have an opportunity. We've separated them. Okay, so you definitely want to kill the big mace-wielding guy, because he drops some of the Sublime bone dust you can see on screen, of course. So that's actually going to make the Estus Flask more potent. So the bone dust is more valuable than the Estus Flask shards. And yeah, there's definitely not as many Sublime bone dust, so you want to collect those whenever possible, for sure. Okay. So on New Game, you just get some green blossom here. On New Game Plus, the loot is a little bit better. And I hear the sound of a summon sign. So I'm going to summon this phantom. But what I actually really want, you know, for this boss fight is to show you guys how to, I guess, kind of cheese him. There's a way you can make him just walk right off the ledge. And although I've done it before, I did that like a long time ago, so I don't expect, you know, any consistency there. That's okay. Masterless Glencower will help us out if we fail. So let's see. You move through the fog door, and then you wait. You gotta kind of watch his feet. Okay, now. Push him off. Nice. Good work. Me and the Phantom here. Team effort. Nice. I'm actually very excited. I got to pull that off. I didn't think I could just like randomly do it without ever practicing it, except for one time. But anyways, so that's a very easy 9,000 souls. And we got our bonfire here. We may be back here later. Of course, if you head down here, that leads to No Man's Wharf, an optional area, but one we might take on a bit later. And then this is like my least favorite NPC in the game. What's her name?
My name is Licia.
Oh, she's so annoying. God, we want to spend as little time with her as possible. So let's buy something that sells for 2,000 souls. And then spam the talk option until she says, I expected.
To a place. Sorry. May the
So
power
that's that.
offer your soul.
And now if we go rest to the bonfire, we can see her disappear. And it's back to Majula. Alright. So we need to now decide what we're going to do with all these souls. So let's take a quick look at our stat spread. Wow, the Wanderer starts with 4 vigor. That's brutal. So we can spend all the souls, get 7 levels up, and I'm content to put them all in vigor. I don't really see what other option would be as good, just because our life total is so low right now. So let's do that. Also, the zone that we're going to be taking on next time is, you know, a lot harder than any of the stuff we've done so far, so I'll definitely need some extra health. And yeah, we can see the blacksmith is now working away, so we can use him to upgrade anything as long as we've got the materials. So those we'll be looking for as well in the next episode, I'm sure. And we'll just head down here. Oh, you know what, guys? I've had a small miscalculation. I was recommending that we head down and talk to Licia so that she can move the path and unlock Huntsman's Copse. But we don't have enough souls. She charges 2,000 souls. But you know what? I've just realized we've got souls in our inventory. Let's just use the Dragonrider soul. An extra 6,000. I could probably use those for level ups. In fact, we need to upgrade the Sublime or the Estus Flask as well. So I've kind of forgotten to do a few things.
And shall I?
So yeah, we both pray together here, and for some reason that moves this path. She's got the key to the contraption right now. So you can do it the way I did, exhaust her dialogues in Heide's Tower of Flame, buy something from her, and then she'll disappear and show up here. And this was a really frustrating mechanic for myself and a lot of people, I think early on, who just did not realize this. Like, the idea that this was how you were to progress in the game was absurd for Souls standards. Like, this was never a mechanic used in previous Souls games where you could not progress in a game unless you like buy miracles, which, you know, maybe I'm not buying anyway because I don't want to use magic or whatever. You know, an exhaust her dialogue, which is a bit more understandable, but to combine them, to have her to move here, to open up this path is like really unintuitive. So I actually had to look that up online. And as you can probably tell, it made me kind of upset. So yeah, you can do it that way. You can actually just kill her too. And Heide's Tower of Flame, good luck with that. She's like the toughest NPC in the game to kill. She's got an absolutely deadly Wrath of the Gods and other spells. She's very, very strong. Ton of HP. She can heal herself. Oh man, Licia, I tell you. And then actually in the very end game, you can get a cracked eye orb and invade her because apparently she's like an usurper of the throne and she's truly evil, and you can invade her in her world, or I don't know how all of that lore kind of breaks down, but invade her and kill her off. I've never actually done that either. Anyways, that's enough about that NPC. We now have access to the Dark Souls 2 beta. This is where you started for the beta. Really exciting zone. When I finally got here, I was pleasantly surprised because I did not expect Huntsman's Copse to be here. I was expecting like the sewers or something, so it was like a very pleasant surprise. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling now. This video has been quite long, like it's longer than I want it to be, so from now on there'll probably be shorter videos, a little bit. And so this guy's only going to activate as a vendor if you have enough like int and or faith. So we don't have those stats. But he sells hexes. So you can, well, actually you don't have a way of knowing really, but I'll mention that. Okay guys, I need to cut the video off here. There's still, you know, the matter of spending these souls. So I guess we'll just do that at the beginning of the next video, and then progress on into Huntsman's Copse. See you guys next time. Peace out.